As the country is gripped by a cost of living crisis, it seems ministers and public officials have been living large. The Public Works and Infrastructure Department reportedly spent about 93 million rand between 2019 and 2022 on upgrading and maintaining official residences of ministers, deputy ministers and directors general. This bill includes a 54,000 rand spent on new curtains, pest control of 240,000 rand and a kitchen refurbishment for more than R1 million. Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Sihle Zikalala has promised to investigate, saying government will not tolerate wasteful, unreasonable or potentially corrupt practices. He joins us this afternoon for further details on this. Thank you very much for making the time to join us this afternoon, Minister. And it is quite a concerning figure that is spent on the refurbishment and the maintenance of official residents in and around the country. But what concerns you the most in this regard? Because you do say that there will be strong action taken against those implicated. Does this mean that there are potential instances of corruption that would have taken place in the refurbishment and maintenance of certain residences?
Indeed, as you are saying, it is possible that if you look at it, it shows that some prices were inflated and services were provided at a very exorbitant fee. That's why we are saying we're going to investigate this and ensure that those who did commit such things are held accountable. The principle of accommodating people where they work is correct. But in this case, it looks like ministers are being blamed for things that are done by officials, especially corrupt practices that needs to be attended to. And that's why we are saying we are launching an investigation on the quality and the quantity of work done and the process followed, so that we are very firm in dealing with these things.
Minister, what is the standard in terms of the budget provision for the maintenance of these homes of the ministers or other public officials? Is there a standard budget that is put forward every year, or is it a discretionary kind of spending that happens?
No, it is not a discretionary kind. A budget is allocated to the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure. It is managed by the unit called Prestige within the department. If in any resident there is something that needs to be upgraded or renovated, it is a responsibility of that unit to ensure that that service is done. Now, that's where we must then investigate why there have been such things and be able to take decisive actions based on the proper investigation.
When are you planning on launching this investigation, Minister? And I know you are presenting your budget vote on Tuesday, so you can't give too much detail. But what are the kind of consequences you are hoping to see after the investigation is concluded and it is found that there was instances of malfeasance?
Well, we are going to investigate we are going to start the investigation right from this week. We think if we give ourselves a month or two, we'll be able to conclude maybe a preliminary report will be available. Then we'll be able to take decisions. We are aiming to ensure that if there was wrongdoing, those who committed such wrongdoings are brought to books, prosecuted, and disciplinary actions within the department be taken.
Minister, have there been any conversations? I do know that you're fairly new to this portfolio, but have there been any discussions around reviewing the provision of residences to public officials, simply because of the tough economic climate that we're currently in and, of course, the budgetary constraints that National Treasury faces? Are those conversations had at all, or is this something you're going to consider with the rest of the department?
Well, the conversation is ongoing. We have started, we are making our submission to to cabinet subcommittees, and we believe that at some point within this year, that conversation will be concluded, where we will try to have very manageable approach when it comes to the issues of ministerial accommodations, the issues of maintenance, and all of that. But that needs to go through structures that are in place, which we are in a process of submitting to those structures.
And of course, Minister, there will be, one assumes, mechanisms that are put in place, whether it be within this component you call prestige or any other part of the department where increased oversight will be created to make sure that all of these costs or expenses are gone through with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that nothing is wasted following the investigation, as well as the conclusion of any action that will be taken against those who are left wanting.
Indeed, proactive measures will be put in place to ensure that any service that is provided within affordable and proper budget. And we don't go to an extent of such exorbitant spending that we have seen. But more than that, we will be ensuring that the oversight within the department and the internal audit act proactively to ensure that we avert such things from happening.
Because, Minister, and one wonders over the last 2 or 3 years how much this kind how this kind of money would have been allowed to leave the purse of the department, and so one wonders, based on the conversations you're having with your team in the office corridors, why was there no eyebrows being raised 2 years ago when large sums of money were being taken out of the purse for these extravagant refurbishments? Why is it you that comes over 2 years later to say something is wrong here, something needs to change?
Yes, we wonder why such thing happened, but we believe that the investigation will answer those questions. And we don't want just an investigation for the sake of investigation. We want to ensure that those who committed such a thing, because this is reflective of fraudulent activity, we want those people to be subjected to proper processes. But more than that, we should standardize and benchmark. And we must know that for this service, we cannot go above this allocation. We need to put in place clear standards, and we are going to be undertaking that analysis as a department.
Minister, we will catch up with you. You said in about 2 months you might have a finalization on that investigation where you will then provide us with the relevant update. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That is Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Sihle Zikalala, speaking to us about the concerning developments in the department and the refurbishment and maintenance of public officials' homes. Imagine that, 54,000 Rand for curtains must be quite the set.